swirling.
You have indeed.
We are swirling, we're swirling, we're swirling, and
Buttons
YouTube
up
says
and
we're
pushed.
live.
Swirling.
So that must mean we're live.
And swirling, and at some point it will tell us that we're live, which will help out a little bit in making sure that we actually are live. And if we are live, hi everybody, how's it going? It's Friday. It's tomorrow.
My phone's giving me the notification, so we are.
Yeah, I guess we got that going on. Hi everybody. Hope you've had a very nice week with all of the fun that we talked about last week actually going to be happening this week. Maybe. Who knows? We're going to get down to that. Hope y'all are doing good. My name is Jared. We've also got in the seat next to me, as you can see here, Jamie is not back yet. But joining me
Jamie's
today,
airborne right now, actually.
What's up?
We could probably find out where Jamie is. Hang on, give me a second.
Okay, there's Ryan, everybody. Just to show you, Ryan is very busy. And Space Launch System was supposed to be behind you, Ryan, but I don't know where did
It's
it
there.
go?
This is NASA needs to turn their exposure up, but it is there.
Okay, very, very cool. Also joining us, very special guest today, Loopy, one of our viewers who's going to be talking a little bit about being directly down there and got some cool things to show us and some other fun little bits, since, you know, Space Launch System kind of going to be a big deal. And Loopy, I could see not only are you near, you know, the Cape, you've also got a Space Launch System on your cup in front of you.
Yeah.
In the bottom of the
This was
screen
like
right
last year's Visitor Center Cup.
Excellent.
This year's is kind of lame in comparison. It's not even holographic. Like, look at this one. It's got the 3D effect on it, like a Valentine's Day card.
That looks great. And I'm pretty sure they put that out last year because they thought it was going to fly last year. And in addition to that,
so did we.
so say we all. Also, in addition, in the booth, guess who's back? He is back. Oh my gosh, it's Dada.
That's all you get.
Yep, that's all you're going to get at Dada. Unless you hear the disembodied voice of Dada, like we have right now.
Right now?
Yes, right now.
Right now. Hi.
Okay,
How's it
very good. Okay, so some people are asking if the ground umbilical carrier plate is in the chat. So ground
Better
umbilical
not be.
Carrier plate.
Kick, ban.
If you're in the chat, let us know. Say hi to Dada.
No, it was
especially.
TSMU, wasn't it? Today it was Tail Service Master Umbilical Seal, wasn't it?
I don't have any issues with the tail service mast umbilical.
Yeah, Dada's got beef, legit beef with the ground umbilical carrier plate. And if you want to know more about that, you should become a TMRO member. So, you know, be a YouTube member of our channel, so that way you can enjoy the member-only stream that we started with today, almost a half hour before the beginning of the show, and continuing after the show, usually about an hour and a half sometimes with that there. So we got a lot to talk about this week, don't we, folks? And the hard bit is that we have a lot to talk about this week, but it's also basically the exact same stuff that we talked about last week, but also not really. Because last week we talked about it. We talked about the Space Launch System actually launching. Now we're talking about how it didn't launch, but it's going to be launching tomorrow, very clearly. With that, so I don't even know who wants to take the reins here to start. Ryan, I could definitely hand it over to you if you got it.
Yeah, I've put in the social state data.
What's that?
That's the. There we go. So I don't know if my internet is playing up because I seem to be a little bit laggy, but so that's where Jamie currently is, or was about a minute ago. So that's why Jamie isn't here. She's over the desert in a Delta 737. Anyways, SLS.
That's not creepy at all.
Yes, very exciting. It's not creepy at all, knowing exactly where people are. So SLS, hopefully, is going to be launching tomorrow. I want SLS to launch tomorrow. I said it in a show previously. I didn't think it was going to go on Monday because they didn't get to pretty much T0 in the wet dress, or where they were meant to get to in the final attempt of the wet dress. So my suspicions came true.
I was wrong.
It was because of a technical issue. with not engine 3, but the engine 3 an engine 3 sensor. So it's not engine 3's fault. We all need to apologise to engine 3.
I'm very sorry, engine 3. So
yeah,
I didn't mean to.
I quote tweeted that as well.
Engine
We're all very
2058.
sorry, engine 3.
Yeah, we're really sorry. Sorry, engine 3.
But yeah, I really want it to go tomorrow because I feel like we've had our little practice run. We know how to get excited. We know how excited we're going to be. Now it's time to actually put that excitement to good use. That's my take on it.
Is this where I get to jump in? Because I saw how excited it was on Sunday. On Sunday after, when I came here to share, was that I came here I live here. I live somewhere in Titusville, I won't say where. But I decided to go on a bike ride Sunday afternoon just to see how crazy it was. And let's see if I can't get to
yeah, you've got
my
some good
pictures,
photos,
screen share.
Loopy, just kind of showing off just how many people were on the Space Coast that day, open, waiting,
Yep.
thinking.
Forgot to start my screen share back.
Yeah, the no longer naughty engine 3.
So, are
Thank
we
you, Kylie.
live on that part? Yeah.
We are now.
Okay. Give it a second. So, it's thinking. This worked 30 seconds ago, but technology. So this was like actually Friday night. I just happened to be out getting a drink for the Starlink launch at the bar downtown, which is nice. They do non-alcoholic beer that I like, but they had this on their door, and they had their nice little chalkboard for the Monday attempt hours thing because they were going to be open for breakfast. But then, and then that night, I was also screwing around for that Starlink. We thought this was for the Space View Park itself, but no, that was already full. It's for this parking lot back here that's attached to the Wells Fargo parking lot. I think the food pantry sold space there. But then the afternoon after, I started going around Titusville and just looking at how many parking lots were roped off, coned off, how many places were said they were going to be closed, like City Hall. This one didn't turn out great. I've got that one on my camera. So I'll show that.
No tourist
Because
parking.
the phone sensor didn't like that.
I like that. No tourist parking.
The display did not like my camera sensor, but it liked my camera sensor better. That's later on, so.
Ooh, pretty clouds.
That's the something else. Oh, and then I went to the hardware store because I needed something. Everybody's coming out for. Even the Ace Hardware store had something out in their little thing saying, "Buy binoculars from us. Make sure you got your stuff for the lunch." And they ended up selling parking. My favorite part right here. The items listed below purchased between 827 and 829 are not eligible for return because they didn't want people just renting them. It's just a crazy thing. I've never been part of this. And the credit union by Knox McRae. Next door was Dogs R Us, who were pretty great. They're a standby down here. They opened their parking at 2 a.m. for the Sunday's attempt.
Did they have dogs?
Yeah.
Were they cooking?
They got hot dogs. I guess some others. I'd imagine so. Haven't been in years. And they also had this fun yard art out in front that they got somebody to do. They got Apollo Soyuz. They got a space shuttle. They got a telescope. They got space shuttles. They got all sorts of just funny generic decorations. I don't know how. Well, that's not even Apollo Soyuz. That's a Salyut, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
I don't know.
That is. That's a Soviet space station.
So this is just all the stuff on my phone.
Wait, a big breakfast.
Fitting. Yeah, a lot of places are doing breakfast that day, that opening outside the normal hours. And you'd think the thrift store would have done paid parking for donations, but they didn't seem to be. The box truck parked in their driveway seemed to suggest otherwise.
They just couldn't.
And
be
then
bothered.
this is the hot spot. This is Kirk Point Park. This is where just a bit north of where Florida Colonial Drive Cheney Highway, which is a direct route from Orlando, hits US 1 and terminates. So this is where everything was the worst. And then
So Loopy,
Even
what
the
you're
gas
telling
station
me
is
is don't go to that spot.
$3,000 for
do not.
parking.
A bit steep.
I thought
Okay,
parking
this
in
is a video.
downtown
Let's just
LA
show
for a
something.
concert was bad. Jeez.
Yeah, just like until if it'll choose to. I'm sorry if it's stuttering, but this is Kirk Point Park. This is okay.
It's just loaded with
There's
people.
more. There's There's businesses that weren't going to be open anyway, starting to charge $20, $30. Okay, here's another better view. Just give it a second too.
You should have just push the box truck out of the way and charge $30 for parking.
Yeah, this is a private business to let land somebody owns along the river. We'll get to that in a second. Look at how they changed their mind. They put duct tape over it to put a 3 there. It was clearly lesser more point. And then the people who own this bit of land against the river, they don't charge people normally, but $40, which I'm surprised it wasn't more. But even then, this is before sunset, and it was already full. Sunset on the Sunday, the 28th.
$40. to
$40.
park.
And then this is something else.
Man, that's
And
like,
then there's a bunch of places like. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say $40 is parking at a Dodgers game here in LA. Like, holy smokes, that's a lot of money to just sit there for a bit in your vehicle. Oh man, I'm not paying $40 for that. So,
But you are right on the river, so you're tailgating the launch the whole night. You're just sitting there. So there is that merit to it. But the funny thing is, you go a little bit north. I don't have a picture of that. I'll get it on maps in a second. But there's Kirk Point. There's the south half of Rotary Riverfront Park, because that park is in 2 halves. Which Rotary Riverfront has a south half by Kirk Point and a north half by the McDonald's. The south half was full, but the north half has the view from the parking area blocked by a condo. So even as that $40 parking is filling up, nobody wanted to walk. So it was completely dead empty after sunset. Because that's how things go. And I think that's all I've got on that camera. So here's Knox McCrae on the actual camera. I saw this truck who had gotten their own banner put up on their bed. So I tried to get a picture with that. Because in there, you got the rocket between the trees.
nice. Look at that, purdy.
And okay, that's the next day. But I spent like from 2 p.m. to midnight out on my bike going down to Knox McCrae and back. And then after that, that's other stuff. So the lesson we learned is that this was going to be crazy, but this wasn't even the start of it. So it's going to be worse this weekend, because now it's Labor Day weekend.
Yes. Yeah. Now everybody.
So basically, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, everybody's traveling this weekend.
And a lot of people
Yeah.
who wouldn't travel can travel now. They doubled how many
It's
people
not
they
a
thought were
Monday
going to be
morning
here 'cause it's
anymore.
Saturday. Yeah. That's the big takeaway I got, because I went back into fly in the brewing company yesterday, and I went to the Cocoa Beach Pier yesterday when I went down for the booster return. But that's what both of them said. They were expecting it worse on Monday, but it wasn't. So yeah, that's the big takeaway. For if you're down here, find somewhere you can walk and you won't have to rush to be there, because a bunch of people are going to take the convenient spots first, which I guess is obvious enough. But if you're willing to take an inconvenient spot and walk anywhere from a couple of blocks to half a mile, you're set. Like Spaceview Park in downtown Titusville, all the street parking next to that was taken by like 10 p.m. But the adjacent parks across Garden Street, Sandpoint and Marina Park, were dead. There's like 2 cars at Sandpoint, and there's going to be even less at Marina, because that's even further away. But Marina Park is actually where I had. I'm going the wrong way, so I just slowed this thing down.
So, Loopy, would you say at this point, pretty much, if you are not on the Space Coast, you are not getting a parking spot, so just don't even bother?
Yep, pretty much.
Okay, I'm canceling my flight for tonight.
I mean, I should crash on my couch, but I'm on the couch right now.
This is a great one
Okay.
from Cosmic Connection here. A nice comment. Riding my Vespa from Tampa, I can park anywhere. So very
Oh yeah,
true.
that's my trick. I mean, I'm on a bicycle. I don't have to worry about parking. I just have to take the trail down to downtown Titusville, and I can just squeeze in anywhere.
You got a kickstand. You're good.
Yeah, but yeah, this is the view from Marina Park, by the way, at the very north end. Like, I'll go back a couple pictures. I went too far forward. I mean, look, there it is. You don't have to walk into downtown Titusville. Marina Park is a bit over a ways away, but it's there.
That's a big rocket.
And yeah, and if you go to Sandpoint Park, which is one further south, it'll be inside the bridge. So you'll be watching it framed inside the bridge. Also, if you're coming down here tomorrow, if you're already here, do not park here at Parish Park. You will be stranded there for several hours after because they closed the bridge. And you're on the side of the bridge where
All
there's
the people
nothing.
you don't like to go there, so they're stuck.
Yeah. They say it's going to be closed for an hour after, and on Sunday it was close. It was pretty close to that, but they're doubling the estimate for Saturday. Well, on Monday it was close to that, but for Saturday they've doubled the estimate, so I bet it's going to be 2 hours. They're going to be stuck over there, if not more. So basically, that's my advice.
We've got a really good question here from Michelle, or Michael, however you pronounce it, asking, dumb European question, don't you have any public transport options?
This is United
What are
States.
you
We don't do that crap.
expecting?
Yeah, this is the USA. We have the
I will
freedom to move ourselves, not pay small amounts for someone to move us in a manner that would cost less.
We pay large sums to park single occupant vehicles rather than small sums to go anywhere.
I will say our buses are better than you would expect, but they still have their shortcomings. They don't run on Sundays. They don't run after sunset.
Sunday
or
is
before
the-
sunrise that much.
Sunday is the Lord's Day. How dare you?
Yeah, we don't launch on Sundays.
How dare you suggest that somebody should work?
Yeah, and of course, I was going to watch from all the way up in Scottsmore. I was going to take the bus all the way up there, but that bus doesn't start running until 7:30 or 8. So it wouldn't have gotten me there until 8:30, which of course by that time it's scrubbed. But what happened instead is I actually got to volunteer with a group called Starfleet Tours, who you've probably heard of them. Let's just get forward a little bit. Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, I
This
haven't.
one
I've
goes,
never
this
heard
one
of
goes
these
in the
folks.
reverse order. Starfleet Tours are a couple of volunteers who started doing launch viewing. They're chartering the fishing boats out of Port Canaveral to do launch viewing.
Starfleet Tours, here's your one plug only for the show. Well played, Loopy.
They're fun. But they don't even need the word of mouth. They filled 3 boats without tweeting about it. They filled all 300-person boats out of Port Canaveral without a single tweet.
How many hours long is the tour?
3?
Depends on
That
whether it scrubs or not.
It concerns me.
3?
It needs to be less or more than
Okay.
that, please.
No more, no less.
No more, no less.
Okay, so let's see if I skipped forwards too much.
I need to make sure I have the alligators in the correct direction around the 3.
Yep.
No,
There we
no
go.
lines under them either.
There's a booster right there. This was Monday morning as we set off. Sorry, I got confused. Sorry about your cat. She is very interested in a gecko on the front door. But yeah, our boat was one of these 2-deck, 100-person boats, or like 100-foot boats.
Nice.
You see the other one over here, with its full deck of people and a bunch of people down there. And this was the boat I was on to volunteer. So I got a couple pictures of the crew. I've hit the wrong button again. And then we set off. I think Ryan has the videos of us setting off on Fleet Cam if he wants to put those up. But
I'll go back. I'll go back and find them.
yeah, you can find it quicker than I am because this thing is sluggish. It's running a lot more than it's used to. So we went out. I just want to point out one thing.
Lighthouse.
This is the Cape Canaveral Lighthouse. This is the historic hangar C. Look at how tall the lighthouse is. This is Blue Origin's rocket construction hangar. It is as tall as the lighthouse. Oh, and there's relativity. These are just a bunch of pits because I snapped halfway, just not really trying on the way out there. There's relativity stage, all blurry.
Aha. Yeah, they're doing fluid checks, if I recall correctly. So just to let people know, Relativity with their Terran 1 for their first launch, they're starting to get all of their, fluid systems, the ground support equipment ready to go for that out of the Cape. So exciting. More rockets.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's where we got our first glimpse of the thing.
And I just realised that YouTube would be a lot easier to look for the clips I've made. Continue, Loopy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, Vax is here.
I'm just going through my...
Vax is here. We can end the show now.
And then my boat was the back of the pack, so we had all the fun views. We were like, okay, there's Relativity again. You can see them with the... Which Titan building is that? That's the solid motor assembly facility something. All these are blurry because I'm not used to taking a picture on a boat.
We don't have your C
I
fingers.
would show you the clips of the boats leaving on fleet cam, but YouTube only caches the last 12 hours, and because fleet cam is 24/7, the clips now won't load, which is really brilliant. YouTube, thanks.
Darn.
So you were seen on fleet cam, but we can't see it.
Yeah, we waved. Well, and we'll wave tomorrow afternoon when we come set out. So just look out on fleet cam and tell who is it, Gavin, to pan it down a little bit so they can see the people on the first deck. Pan it down just so that when the princess boat's set up, you can barely see us. And the other thing fun about being on a boat is just, being on a boat. You can see these distant showers off in the distance that stop being very distant very quickly. Because we got rain done.
Because Florida.
Yeah. And then a couple decent pictures of guys we set out. You can see the Starship launch tower, the tower right here, and pad 39B.
Get that thing out of the way.
Yeah, that thing's not going to get out of the way for us. We have to keep going east.
They should have made
so
that like the transporter erectors so it can bend back.
Yeah. So when our boat finally anchored, I'm going to guess this is our boat finally anchored. You can see all 4 of our other boats. The Ocean Obsession, one of the 6-person boats, one of the 12-people boats, and then the Canaveral Princess. You can see how far away we are from the rest of them. They got a clearer view. Let's just skip through all these. I mean, boats are cool. If you have the money to do it. Oh, this was somebody making sure we had permission to be there, because it was not well documented at the time. Okay. We hadn't quite set down anchor yet, but you see how threateningly close the Starship Tower is getting to blocking SLS. More showers in the distance. More showers in the distance. Yeah, this was our final view. we anchored
chosen.
in just the wrong spot.
Well chosen.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll try to do better next time.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. So.
But yeah.
I mean, Loopy, if you think that's bad, you should come out to Vandenberg, because we've kind of got like a small coastal mountain range in the way.
Yeah, we're foolish enough to park with a mountain in between us.
Yeah.
Really. And of course, we got the news that it scrubbed right at 8:30 with the rest of the people. So we had been being rained on, and then the news of the scrub comes out, and like magic, the rain clears, and there's this full arc of rainbow across the entire space center because the sun is right behind us. And of course, my white balance was off, so it looks terrible.
SLS will launch tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm taking this rainbow as we'll get it next time. But if you ever want to do a launch from a boat, always check into Starfleet tours. They are pretty great. I volunteer with them a lot. And this is Fleet Cam. They need to pan it down next time. I like to say hi to Fleet Cam every time I'm in Port Canaveral.
Hi, Fleet Cam. You should definitely wave for them on our behalf.
Yeah.
So give them like a double-handed wave as you go past or something.
Yeah.
Give them the Forrest Gump wave.
Okay, so this is unrelated, but this was yesterday evening. I couldn't stay the whole time, but it's always fun to go down to Jetty Park or the boat ramp if you don't want to pay the Jetty Park pass price. But if you're on a bicycle, Jetty Park's free. Another reason to enjoy riding a bicycle, because it's only $1.50 to get down there on our buses, which are adequate.
I thought that was a buoy, and you took that photo next to one of SpaceX's drone ships.
Yeah. There's an osprey up here.
Ooh, look at that bird. That
Yeah, I
bird
didn't
is
get to
the
stay
word.
very long because I
Burp.
had a return bus to catch, so I only took a couple pictures. Yeah, it is always worth trying to see a booster come in. I heard that if you went down to where the Princess boat stocked, that's where everybody was, like Jeff Faust, everybody. My favorite anecdote is when everybody was in town for the Parker Solar Probe launch, because everybody was in town. We had just all gotten out of OSB2 because I was in the NASA social. The press were there, the social were there, and as soon as they let us off the base, everybody goes down to Port Canaveral and lines up on the pier. And then let's see if I got that picture I can pull up.
So while you're doing that, Loopy, we've got a question from our chat room, Nick Trier, who's asking, can you park at Rusty's and watch launches with food? I think you're going to have to explain this one to us.
Okay, Rusty's, if you're what Port Canaveral said is if you're patronizing or giving a restaurant your patronage, you're fine, but you cannot park there specifically to watch the launch and not be patronizing a business or giving them your patronage. You have to be actually going to Fish Lips, going to Rusty's, going to Grills, going to Gators Dockside, or in our case, going on one of the boats. That parking is only for Cove patrons, so yes, if you're going to eat while watching the launch, assuming Rusty's isn't already full of people doing that, yes, you can do that.
Okay, just keep eating. So just do what I would do, which is order a
Just
bunch of small things.
Order another drink. Just keep if you're the kind to drink.
Can I have another cup of coffee, please?
Yeah.
You'll need a few of them on Saturday morning.
Pictures.
Also, Nick's got another question, which is pretty good, which I kind of want to ask everybody, which is which feed will you be watching tomorrow? So how are we watching the Space Launch System tomorrow, everyone?
I'm watching all of them at the same time. I have a little thing that I've built in OBS, which has Everyday Astronaut, NASA Spaceflight, and then the NASA Media TV with the Public Affairs Officer on there. I have them all laid out on my monitor, so that's how I'm watching them. I'm watching all the feeds at the same time, because if you see all the angles at the same time, there's nothing to miss, which means we're going to have the best space news on SLS afterwards. So
I don't have a feed as much as I will be reliant on no cell signal out there because the towers are all going to be saturated. So I'll be out there being the feed for people, just telling them what to look for. I'll try to get the dial-in line up for people. I was telling people about the NASA dial-in coverage. It's on there. I forget what the number is, but NASA puts out a phone number with all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest here, Loopy. Considering your location and where you're going to be, I don't think you personally are going to need a feed to witness the Space Launch System launch attempt tomorrow. I think you'll just need eyes and a neck.
Yeah.
And ears.
And ears. So.
Yeah, I like to go down to Jetty Park. This was the day all the press were there. You couldn't see them, but they're off the pier to this side getting their pictures, and then as soon as it passes the front of the pier, they all run back to their cars. It's like the running of the bulls. It was really funny. I wish I had gotten video of it. It was one of my favorite moments before I lived here.
So
everybody was in town.
Are we certain that SLS is actually going to launch tomorrow? I understand there's some things to worry about.
Yeah, it's Jack Vancouver in our chat room saying, I'm worried about the foam crack. So what's up? What's up with that?
Isn't that in the launch vehicle stage adapter?
It's the problem that was going to be a problem, but considering that it's the way that the Public Affairs Officer said it on the media feed, I'm taking that as it's a little scratch, but it's not going to affect the flight availability of the launch vehicle, because there's the structural integrity of the tank was not impacted. It was just some air had gotten into the insulation foam, but as long as the fuel temperatures are okay and the structural integrity of the tank isn't breached, then theoretically why would that hinder the launch of the vehicle? The only problem I'm personally seeing is the weather, and data is now going to prove me wrong.
You know what's funny is that's the same thing they said about the crack on STS-133 in early November of 2010.
I think we all know.
Where is the crack again?
Oh, Dada, why would you bring up STS-133 and the scrub from it, perchance?
Never you mind.
Just wanted to
Yeah,
say.
the worst scrub was. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Loopy. You got something.
Just the worst scrub was NRO 44 because that one it was like several attempts over like several months of that trying to get that Delta off the ground.
I remember that October. It was October 2020, wasn't it? When nothing wanted to launch. There were like multiple scrubs from completely different rockets all in a row. And it was like, thanks everybody. So I was doing that. By the way, since y'all gave me a whole bunch of hooey over the James Webb Space Telescope and the 300 plus single points of failure for what this is, I would just like to point out that tomorrow there are 489 launch commit criteria that must be met before Artemis 1 and the Space Launch System can actually launch.
Yes, however, we can service them.
Kinda.
That's it. All we have to do is drive out to 39B, Jared. We don't have to fly out something to L2 millions of miles away.
But we do have to roll it back to the VAP to do that. We can't because you can't service the thing on the pad very well.
Yeah, but
all they could do on after the scrub was go up with some scaffolding and check that the TSM was fine, because that's all they could do was check the seal was good, and it wasn't, so they fixed it, right?
Yeah, but that's only a 2-day trip, right?
It's
I'd take that over L2.
It's a 2-day trip, but they said it stresses the vehicle a lot, so they don't want to do it if they don't have to.
I mean, to be fair, you can get there at least.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what they figure out. And hopefully tomorrow afternoon, a lot of people will see it go just fine. So what are you guys' confidence on that?
Oh, our fail. Oh. Just roll James Webb. J-Dub back to the pad. Very good. So, yeah.
Oh, Robert has got another one. Just turn JWST off and on again.
Well, that's what they do for a lot of spacecraft with your problems, isn't it?
That's what we do for all kinds of problems.
Yeah, also BVeeps here saying, poor Jared, that one burned. Well, the nice thing is that the human body can't tell the difference between extreme heat and extreme cold, so yes, it did. So.
Good reference.
Thank you. So hopefully some folks will get that. Here we go. I'm not even gonna just say this out loud. I'm just gonna throw it up there for everyone to work with that.
These are brilliant.
Yeah. Hey, there's buoys in Star Trek, so just throwing that out there. So, Vax, here.
Vax is the resident professional, so we should all listen to Vax.
Yeah, if anyone's going to be able to correct us, it is our resident Moonabomber, Vax, with that there. So, yeah, no, you never turn spacecraft off and back on again.
When you turn them on again, that's when they become sentient, right?
I assume. That's my assumption when they're back on with that. So, oh my God. So, yeah, is it going?
My cat is making problems while she knows I can't get up.
Oh, that's okay. Animals are absolutely allowed to make problems on air live, just as long as it happens within view of the camera, so that way we could just go to you and have you full screen as it goes down.
All right. So who's buying Vax a beer?
What's up?
Who's buying Vax a beer?
I thought the beer bet was that it never flies.
Yeah. So who's buying Vax a beer?
I'm not, because I think it's going to fly.
Yeah, I'm not either.
You can't yet.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Ryan. You cannot.
I thought it was lower in England.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not anyway. But if I could, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if he wants to come to fly in the brewing company, we can get drinks together. They're pretty nice.
I believe the beer bet is that it never flies. Right, Vax? Vax, you're going to have to check us up on this one. Oh, yeah, here we go. Vax is already calling it. Nobody will. I stand to lose the bet tomorrow. So, yeah. So possibly with that. But obviously it has to launch. So that's the thing. It's got to go. That's the hard bit.
Well, if Vax himself thinks he's gonna lose his bet tomorrow, then surely that's a good sign.
Okay. I'll take that. If anybody's going to be able, Dutta too, you're very well qualified to make these kinds of calls as well.
I don't know. There's a crack.
So, a crack?
Yeah, I to be honest, I've been heads down at work. I haven't done any research in it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess a really important thing that I want to note is that until the solid's light, it's not going. So,
and when the solid's light, it will go.
Yes, whether
it may be graceful, it may be beautiful, it may be chaotic, but it will be spectacular.
Yes, that is most certainly what will happen with that. Also, Vax is making a very good point, which is I made that bet on my WordPress site 10 years ago. So that was even that was like at the oh man, that's a very long time ago, Vax.
Yeah.
So, yeehaw. So, Bennett. Good one there. Don't launch with a crack or you'll break Orion's back. So, which, by the way, NASA is saying that they are accepting a large amount of risk on this flight and pushing Orion to its limits.
Yeah.
They're actually thinking that their chance that they say their risk assessment was basically 1 in 125 chance of losing Orion at some point during this flight. So yeah, that's not exactly, I think, what they. I don't know if that's what they're aiming for, because that seems not great.
They're starting to sound like SpaceX. Like, let's just light this puppy and see what happens. Like, that's what do we feel about that as with NASA as a government agency doing that?
Yeah. Does anybody have any thoughts about the
what they said is sorry.
Go Loopy, go for it.
What they say is they're accepting this risk because that makes it safer in the future, right? Is that what they said?
Well,
if
I
more
think
things
that
go
would make
wrong,
sense because, yeah, the more things you find to go wrong, the more things you know how to rectify. If something never goes wrong, you'll never know that it could go wrong.
Yeah, but if step 1 goes wrong, you're never going to get to step 137.
Yeah, NASA's noting that the mission manager, Mike Serafin, is actually saying we would be go on this flight for conditions that we would normally be no-go for on a crewed flight. So,
crewed flights, however, they have a lot more. Whoever you're flying with, crewed flights have a lot more standards that need to be met.
Absolutely.
As well, they should.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. When you fly, my personal opinion is that go fever with human flight is terrible, stupid, should never happen. But if you're not flying humans, if there's no lives at risk, the only thing at risk is the spacecraft, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think politicians may see differently.
And it's just embarrassing.
Personally, I don't think go fever is. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're confident that it can fly, what's wrong with it?
I think from a public affairs perspective, having a failure on this launch is going to be absolutely devastating to NASA's image.
Agreed.
And while they're not reusing any parts of this, much like they would have with shuttle or SpaceX or something like that, losing the vehicle is of little risk to them. But you still get that PR component that I think is going to be terribly difficult to overcome if they do lose a vehicle.
Yeah, and we're already getting a part of that PR component because after the scrub, there were loads of reports of people saying, "Oh, well, we went to the moon 50 years ago. What's the problem? We can't, do this." Which I mean, like, obviously, valid way of putting it, right? But also, that's
we can't communicate between two buildings. How are we going to communicate into the moon?
That's a bunch of people who have never been here for one of these before.
Yeah.
It's like.
There's a lot of factors involved in the launch attempt for a space launch system tomorrow that just give me great pause with things like that. Between all the waivers that they've had to do for the solids, basically being like, the crack, who cares about it, and just like understand. I think because I've paid attention to this program for so long, and all of us, I mean, most of us watching have probably followed this program since its inception. To us, there is a tremendous amount of weight on this launch tomorrow. To me, that feels like there's more weight on this launch in the near term than there is on the Starship orbital flight, simply because, oh man, if this doesn't work right, this is not exactly going to look so great.
Well, I mean, and SpaceX has set themselves up to fail a lot and figure out how to not fail.
Yes.
And so that's kind of their operating. That's their standard operating condition. Is you fail, you push it until it breaks, and then you design it so that it doesn't in order to do what you need to do. But NASA has never had that perspective. NASA has never used that as a metric for progress. So failure is acceptable now? Mm-hmm. Is that just public pressure, or the timeline of this program? Are they trying to save the program by making sure this launches, even if it's not ready, even if their system isn't ready? I've got thoughts. I'm not sure exactly where they go.
I feel like there's a very big difference, though, between a SpaceX failure and a NASA failure.
For sure.
Because with the SpaceX is beholden to no one, to a degree.
They're a private company.
They're a private company.
They are
apart from contracts, there's no taxpayers' money in there.
They are a private company, but they have done research on government money.
Yes, and they have used government data and government money in order to advance technologies that they have now that are helping move things forward and lower costs and other things like that.
I don't have a single problem with people using government data.
No, I don't either.
Just the money. They need to be responsible with the money, and SpaceX is
just so everybody understands.
Been questionable in that respect.
NASA R&D is like, really, to me at least, one of NASA's main focuses should be R&D in developing things.
Yeah.
Because it's just the innovation and the ability to drive technology forward that comes out of that. That's been the biggest thing we've gotten out of NASA.
We've had that conversation before.
Yes.
It seems like most of us think that NASA should be doing the cutting edge that nobody else can because nobody else can afford it, and then their proceeds should filter out into the economy.
Yes. Yeah. Good comment here from Kylie Williams, kind of reflecting in on ourselves, which is that we space nerds can think more critically about a failure than general media population. So that's very true. So we can do that. So I could say the cat, Loopy, your cat has come in on this conversation. They have
I don't know what she has to say, but she's here.
I was about to say she has a lot to say about that. And, of course, now that we were going to ask her, she's gone. So Allison Cornish with a comment here says that if Apollo 1 happened today, Apollo would be canceled.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, 100%. Mm-hmm. Yep, that would be it. So, yeah.
Something I observed with when I was on the boat is that I had to walk around and give the scrub talk to everybody, because on the way out, I asked about the whole boat, how many people have been there for their first time, their first launch, their first time on a boat. And for a lot of people, for at least half to 2/3 of that boat, it was their first launch altogether. And a lot of people, I guess maybe because they were enthusiastic enough to find the way to launch on a boat rather than just going to KSC and buying tickets, I guess they were more understanding of what the stakes were, and I guess I helped communicate that to them, because a lot of the people, everybody was bummed at Scrub, but they weren't, It's like I heard at the gas station a couple of nights ago that someone was just saying completely straight up that they thought it was going to scrub so that people would spend more money in the hotels. So it's like, that's the amount of literacy some people have on this stuff. Some people thought it was a conspiracy by the tourism industry or something. I'm sure that, because some people think it's just a concert. Some people don't. A lot of people who come down here for a launch for their first time, especially one this big, don't realize how much has to go right for it to go to launch, and how little has to go wrong for them not to.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount.
I wonder, I'd have to think back to DM2 before I moved here, but DM2 had that scrub, didn't it? I wonder what people thought of that first scrub, and then when they came, how many people came back after. I wonder how many people are here now that were here for the scrub. In our audience, probably a decent people the audience already knew what to expect coming in, so not the best place of data gathering to the data. But if you were here on Monday, do leave a comment.
Yes.
Tell us where you were, and tell us what kind of experience you had, how crazy it was getting in and out, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be here if you're gonna be here tomorrow, and if you're watching this after, tell us where you were.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually. Somebody in the chat
I'll
room.
be on the boat. So if you're on the boat, I'll see you. Go ahead.
Somebody in the chat room asked about scrubs during the Apollo era, and I'm looking through that.
Nicholas N
Right
has
now.
asked, how many times did Apollo 11 scrub? Just wondering. I don't know, but you can probably Google it and
You're
find
right.
out.
It appears to be 0, if collect space is to be believed. Which, if there's anybody that's gonna know, collect space is usually pretty good at that. There were delays to launches, but no official scrubs of those launches.
And let's be fair.
No STS-1 scrubbed.
Let's be fair. There's been a lot of scrubs for a lot of launches, particularly for humans. So I understand scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. And I would rather scrub than explode.
Yep, better delayed than detonated with that. So, yeah. By the way, it was actually in the Gemini program when those 4 scrubs occurred. So Gemini, 5, 6, 9, and 11 were the ones that scrubbed with that.
Middle TN Pyro has said that they were out on Starfleet. And Grubby
cool.
also
Which
says,
boat?
when spaceships launch daily from Boca Chica, do you think weather scrubs will be a thing of the past? No, because weather is really important for launching. I think that rockets will become more resistant to weather, but I don't think they'll be scrubbed entirely because of weather. Flights on planes get cancelled because of bad weather. You're never going to be able to beat Mother Nature, no matter how hard you try.
No, and in areas where launches occur, at least here in the United States, like Florida, or in this case down in Boca Chica, these are areas where weather can turn very quickly and turn bad very quickly. And also there's typically seasons as well that are not great for launching, like right about now, hurricane season, where in the Western Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico, you've got very warm water there that will fuel hurricanes to come right through. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a yeah, I just don't foresee weather. I don't foresee rockets ever beating weather. And if you don't believe me, Apollo 12, as several of you are saying in our chat room there.
SCE docs.
It's just switch SCE docs.
It turns out they built an entire structure to protect the space shuttle from severe weather.
Yes.
Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
That's all I saw.
Because of the what?
I don't want to talk about it.
It's the ground umbilical carrier plate.
You bite your tongue.
Sorry. But yeah, so, Oh, poor Dada. How is the weather looking, by the way? Has it improved at all? I have not seen forecasts yet for that. So usually the last one's coming through right about now. So
Patrick Space Force Base have released their report, which is 60%. Wait, I've got this right. 60% go at the start of the window, 80% go at the end. It increases over time. On the SLS live feed that I've got going, I averaged that to 70% because I didn't have space to put 60 to 80. So yeah, over the entire launch window, it's going to be an average of a 70% go for launch, but that starts lower and improves later on. So yeah, it'll just it depends at what point in the window they decide to launch, and weather permitting, technical things could come up again. So yeah, it depends on what point in the window it is for how good the weather will be.
How long is the window?
2 hours.
2 hours.
Oh no, old gamer noob down in there. Oh, that's ouch. Ouch.
That's what I was about to say something about that. We know it's not going at the start of the window, so it's definitely going to slip into the more favorable part anyway. there's no way SLS goes to the third one. They're gonna have whatever teething issue just appears like magic, because they always do.
Yeah,
we're not gonna have it right at 2:17 p.m.
Yeah, definitely. And Arvail's got a really good point, which I agree. I'm very much that way too.
We do the opposite.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Viability and Pyro said they're on the Canaveral boat, Loopy.
I was on the Orlando Princess. I got photos of your boat. I don't know. I think that was the boat with Camille. Did she do okay? I'll ask you later. Maybe in the post show.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very cool. Well, we're all going to be waiting with bated breath, or whatever you want to call it at this point, as it's either going to go or it's not, I guess is how we say it. So
What's the over and under on Jared's heart rate during launch?
don't know. Don't know. Well, we'll I'll certainly have the data of it.
Did you get a new wristband?
Yeah, I did get a new wristband. So it's a little
Nice.
upside down at the moment.
Is that
but
orange or is that red?
It's red. And it says
So you have to
something
take
on it.
your watch off before flight.
Yeah, I had to take it off before my flights this week. So yeah, pretty cool that you could do that. So yeah, cool stuff. So,
And what time is
Can I
launch?
take a couple real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry.
oh yeah, whatever you need to do.
I was gonna say, Crazy Koala is asking what the cumulus cloud rule is for launch. I don't know if I put it on red, so it should be on screen. All right. Cumulus cloud is that basically a cumulus cloud is a precursor to a cumulonimbus cloud, and it's got enough static charge in it that if the rocket flies through it, it could trigger lightning. As that's my understanding. And then earlier on, Cosmic Connection system I want to circle back to. Maxburg Bridge will be 4 times as busy with for Labor Day weekend, so be early and be prepared. I'm telling people, don't get here later than sunrise. The Brevard County Parks, I went to the parks office down by me yesterday, and I asked them in person. They said they won't open the parks up at night like they did for Sunday. So the earliest the parks are going to be open is at sunrise, like at normal. But don't try to get here any later than sunrise. I would say, just expect to be there all day, like all day. Get there early. Don't try to leave until like way after the traffic's thin. Titusville has stuff for you to do, so just make a day out of it. You're gonna be there all day whether you want to or not. So just don't try to get in traffic after.
Yeah. I think it's really important to explain the scrubs to people and the criteria and the launch violations and things like that, because I don't think people understand that. Yeah, rocket exhaust is highly charged, and if you have a charge going from a cloud down to the ground, and it goes. We call that lightning. So, and we're well familiar with it. With that there. Also, the field mill rule that they have, where literally the electrical field at the surface has to be at a certain amount. It cannot exceed a certain amount, simply because of, again, we don't want to accidentally zap our vehicle with things like that. Yeah.
Somebody took me. Hold on. That one.
Which one? Oh yeah, here you go, Dutta. This may be a good one for you.
Can solids be lit by lightning? Yes, absolutely. You know the amount of static that comes from your finger when you scuff your feet on the carpet and shock a doorknob? A solid can be lit from that.
Yeah. So that's why you got to be a little careful.
If you're ever with SRBs, don't use carpet. Have laminate flooring. That's your tomorrow top tip of the day.
Yeah.
Don't store SRBs on carpeted floors.
I mean, they did rebuild the VAB in the 60s, but thankfully Jack Carbon didn't become a thing until the 70s.
Yeah.
Folks, at least put a doorknob outside of the SRB prep facility, so that way you can discharge before you go in. So, okay, it's not just carpet that we have to worry about. You have to figure out a way to discharge what's already on yourself. So, goodness gracious. So, yeah. Okay, so what's Loopy? I feel like this is a little aimed at you directly. Which is from Middle TN Pyro, which is we Starfleet were technically in the exclusion zone, but had approval from the Coast Guard.
We were, yeah. We actually had to call up our captains and make sure they knew. But we did have a waiver from the chief of the port to do so. But for Sunday's launch, or for Saturday's launch rather, they do actually have blocked out zones formally on the notice to mariners this time. So let me pull that up for you real second. The Twitter.com/.
Yeah. So if you guys have a boat tomorrow, please do not go in the range.
Don't do a demo to go up to the Dragon capsule and say hi to Bob and Doug.
Royal
Don't do
Caribbean.
that. That's a bad idea.
Don't do it.
They got Starlink there. They know where they'll be.
I'm working on that thing for you right now.
Yeah. Also, airplanes, please stay away. Also, please.
REOC has.
Yep.
Please don't be like at a Vandenberg launch where someone once tried to fly their drone out to Slick 4. So, and it was like, you imbecile. So, yep, that was a thing. So, yeah, that was an amazing one. So,
start screen share. I was going to show this for that question once it shows up. Give it a second.
Yeah. Also,
sorry, my internet slowed down because of the call.
Please don't.
Coast Guard and Space Launch Delta 45 for viewing.
Also, please don't drive your Lotus off of the pier and turn it into a submarine and then go out into the ocean with it. So, please.
Don't be a Disney cruise.
Yeah. So. Yeah, maybe one ping?
I'm sorry, this is taking a second.
One ping only?
One ping only, please.
There we go. I don't know if you can see here. They have put observation areas what should be south and north zone. The north one's like in the
Loopy, can
naval area.
Loopy, can you back up and say that one more time and slow down, please? You're breaking up.
Yeah, I went robot while this picture was loading. The Coast Guard has penciled out observation areas to the south and to the north of the launch pad, where if you have a boat, you will be chaperoned there, and you will be fine. The definitions of those zones are available somewhere, but here, if you can look at that QR code, no, here they are. That didn't take forever to load like the other one. We got coordinates, but this is on the Brevard Emergency Operations Center's Twitter, so that should be all you need to find them. If you have a boat.
Yeah, just go get them. So it'll be some good stuff. So, all right, cool. Well, that's our space launch system talk that we have today. So,
what else did you want to talk about, Jared?
Talked about it. We talked about space launch system last week, and we get to talk about it again this week. And guess what? We're going to talk about it again next week, regardless of the outcome of what happens tomorrow, just in case anybody was wondering. So, your all space launch system all the time coverage here. That's what we got. So,
this is a big deal, though.
It is a big deal. So we don't want to like. I mean, we joke about it and we have laughs and other things, but also this is a pretty big deal. This is a real kickoff of the Artemis program and trying to get humans back to the moon. So it's an important step, and it's one that's not just going to be done by NASA. There's other companies coming along like SpaceX with their human landing system. So this is really what begins that process, and that's important because there's a lot riding on this in terms of technology development, funding for things, the science we'd like to do by returning to the moon. Just a tremendous amount of the future of spaceflight is riding on a launch that's happening tomorrow, which seems like benign to almost hated by some people, but it is a very big deal for what will be happening tomorrow. So yeah, I'm excited. So I'm going to be at work, but I will absolutely have it on and probably yelling at people. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Wow.
Shoving your phone in their faces so they have to watch SLS.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen. As somebody was saying with our T-Mobile, we talked about that last week. So yeah, maybe y'all should watch the show. So yeah, hey, I said it. So with that there. So gosh, where would we want to go next? What do y'all
Up
want?
to you. I know you have a couple of things you want to talk about.
Yeah, I had two things that I wanted to talk about really quickly here. Just because, of course, we talked about James Webb Space Telescope and continuing the hype train of that with everything. We got our first direct images of a exoplanet from JWST. Go ahead and take a look. That's not them. What is? Oh, are you implying something, Donna? Are you?
SLS is a big deal.
SLS is a big deal. It's been happening for a really long time. I was just a child when it started.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
JWST.
It's okay. I understand. JWST is a big deal, and just kidding. The first direct images of an exoplanet from it. Stop it. This is the image of the planet down here as I have to move my big cursor. The star, literally the white star, is where the star in this system is at, which is HIP 65426. Beautifully named. And then the exoplanet, you just throw a lowercase b on it there, and that is the planet right there. It's far away from its star, but it's still pretty warm. It's about 1700 Kelvin there, so you really don't want to end up there. And James Atkinson has a really good question, which is, what does exoplanet mean? And an exoplanet is a planet that goes around another star. So basically, it's a planet that does not go around the sun. As to whether you want to throw rogue planets into that, planets that may not be going around a star, I feel like that's another fist fight that the IAU is going to have at a conference that only like 1 out of 100 people will actually attend. So we'll have to find out on that one there with it. So an exoplanet is a planet that goes around another star, and it is very difficult to directly image them. Essentially, what you have to do is block the light from the star you're looking at and block it very precisely. And you can imagine stars are millions, if not billions, often billions of times brighter than the planets that we're attempting to look at around them. That's a pretty difficult thing to do. And JWST is just like right out of the gate, just basically like, yeah, we're doing it. So again, JW is JW is just delivering on everything. It is cashing the checks. What's the Top Gun phrase? You're writing checks that your body can't cash, right? James Webb is cashing the checks that it's written with that there. So. Yeah.
Ed Crab is saying Hubble had a direct observation too, I think.
Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't jumped into the Hubble area in a very
Look at my internet. It's so bad that my box has shrunk.
What is going on tonight? Is 204 the only place with good internets tonight?
I mean, I'm trying to do this on a Chromebook, so I think my laptop's the bottleneck here for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on right here. Is Loopy?
Oh, I think I might sussed it out, but I'll talk to you guys about that in the post show.
Okay, sounds good. Loopy, I think your computer, we're just stress testing it it like for Artemis 1 for tomorrow. So with that, so people are asking why don't they go for a closer planet? 400 light years is a while away. Nicholas asking a really good question there. Why don't you look for something that's a little bit closer? Well, we have to take into consideration things like the distance that the planet is from the star, the brightness of the star, what kind of star it is, what wavelengths of light the star is putting out. It just so happened that this one, because JWST is a infrared telescope, It's much better in the infrared for this specific target than it would be, say, something closer. But obviously, looking at things closer, the closer you could get, the better it is. And Juan, when they're, I'm grateful to all the people that made JWST possible. Truly gifted people. Yeah, it's been an amazing thing. I'm absolutely loving every single second of this. It's good stuff. So, all right, and then I'm going to talk about my final thing that I want to talk about today is if you are into astronomy or anything like that, you woke up this morning to the news that we lost a very big person involved in astronomy, and that would be Frank Drake, longtime radio astronomer. I mean, one of the foundational people of radio astronomy during his time when he was involved with it. You probably know him best from the Drake equation, which is what he developed, a sort of mathematical thought experiment as to how many advanced civilizations, or at least radio transmitting civilizations, should be within our universe or even our galaxy, however you want to apply those numbers there for it. But for a lot of us who are involved in this, we remember him as both a founder, one of the founders of SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, and in addition to that, one of the first people to turn the Arecibo radio telescope into an actual radio telescope. A really big loss for us as a whole. And there was a great tweet from his daughter, who is also an astronomer, by the way, a doctorate, just like Frank Drake here, about that. So, yeah, really beautiful tweet from her saying goodbye to her dad about that today. So, a legend gone, but hey, the work still goes on, and we pick up where he has stopped. So. Was still going at 92, by the way. Was still doing work. So absolutely incredible career. So really cool stuff. So now that I've brought the mood down a little bit there with that, with it, anybody got anything else that they want to talk about?
Well, going back to the previous story talking about JWST a bit, Crazy Quadra is asking, can JWST take a picture of the moon or the Earth?
Ooh.
And I believe not, because of the sun shield, right?
Yes. So James Webb Space Telescope, because of the design of it, it is out at L2 or Lagrange point 2 in the Earth Moon system. That is behind the Earth from the perspective of the sun. So that means that you cannot turn your telescope around, unfortunately, to look at the Earth or the moon at any point.
Well, you could, but it would warm your telescope.
Once. You could do it once. But then you would literally overload the instruments on board, and it would basically just fry it. So, we can't. So, long story short, on that one, no, we can't. We cannot do that. So.
And there should now be a little picture in the social state of the positions of the Lagrange point. There we go. So those are the positions of the Lagrange points.
Yeah, did we want to put that back up? Because that was up for just a very short amount. So
there we go.
Yeah.
So you can see L2 is behind the Earth and the Moon. L1 is in front of the Earth, between the Sun and the Earth. L3 is on the other side of the orbital path, and then L4 and L5 are about is that? That'd be about 45 degrees.
Yeah.
40 degrees.
They got Texas out in L5, so good stuff. Maybe someone will get that. So I don't know. So, yeah. So what was the we just had let's go to this question because this brings up a really good thing, Paracron John, right there, which is that could we place another JWST in L4 or L5 to point at the Earth? As B-Beams just roll it back to the VAB. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, just roll that lower third back off. That's a bit distracting.
Yeah. So actually, no. JWST is designed to be operating in the coldest environment possible. And this is going to sound absolutely wild, but even out in space, if you were to have a vehicle that had the Earth or the Moon or both within its field of view, there would be enough of a thermal load that it would not allow the temperatures to get as low as you want it to. That's just absurd to me. That's one of the reasons why it was put in L2, was because that was an area that was tested to find it should be at its coldest here, and it has.
What you're saying is that JWST is using the shade of the Earth to shade itself from the sun enough that the thermal shades, was it 5 or 6 layers of thermal shades that it uses to get cold enough and expose itself only to space in order to be able to accurately pick up the proper infrared signals that it's looking for?
Sort of. It's
all right. Correct me where I was wrong.
So no, it's just a bit. It's just not as potent out at L2, since you're further back than the Earth is. So, you know what I mean? You're further.
Yeah, but it's still using the shade of the Earth, no?
It's not in. So it's not in the Earth's shadow per se, but it's.
Oh, is the orbit big enough you can still see the sun?
Yeah, it's big enough that you can still see the sun. Yeah, it needs it in order to operate generate electricity with the solar panel attached to it. So.
I got a dumb question.
Yeah.
The shade points to the Earth.
To the sun.
Which is close-ish to where the Earth is?
Yes, in L2, yes.
How does it broadcast signals back?
It has a high-gain antenna on the other side of the shades. In the sun-facing side of the shades.
Does that affect its temperature?
No. Well, yes, but the systems compensate for that.
Gotcha.
So everything affects the temperature on board of it. It's just that the systems cool it so efficiently that it can get as cold as it can. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's just kind of how
your best
things.
mate, the umbilical carrier plate is in chat, by the way. I just thought I'd.
Oh yeah.
That's that one in there.
Kick. Ban. Get out.
It's pretty cold. Pretty good with that there. Yeah, that's a very ice cold way of dealing with that. So.
Sorry, I'm like, guys, I was at work.
Yeah, it's all good. So, yeah, everybody's cracking up with it there.
Upper level wins has entered the chat.
Pretty good. All right, so it sounds like we are wrapping up in what we're going to be talking about today. Just once again, just want to thank all of you who came on to the show today. Ryan, Loopy, Dutta, so glad to have you all here. But of course, we can't do this show without you. It is your help and your contributions and memberships that help this show actually happen. So we want to thank all of our TMRO members, starting off with NeuroStream, a part of that TMRO Model 33 Plaid Pro Plus membership. NeuroStream, you are absolutely awesome.
The easiest tier name to pronounce.
Yes, definitely. We absolutely love you. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us. You are fantastic. We also have our Escape Velocity members. These folks, they have access to a special Escape Velocity channel in our Discord where you get to see us coordinate things, become frustrated, and tell jokes all the time. Whether the jokes are worth it or not, we will leave that up to you. We also have our Orbital members. These folks are helping us continue in orbit around Planet Calf that we are here here. And then we also have our suborbital members helping us out, kind of flying up and then back down, but very important. So there's a lot of good science you can do on suborbital. And then, of course, our ground support crew, which I have a feeling a multitude of people are going to learn just how important the ground support crew is tomorrow. And Ryan, tell us, what's it take to become a member?
You need to go. So if you're on desktop, there'll be a blue join button, and you click the join button, and you click your level, and then you click join. On mobile, YouTube likes to make things more complicated, because why not? So you have to go to the super chat button. I've gone small again, look at this. So you go to the super chat button, then membership, then join that way, or you can just go to your web browser, whichever one you like, go to youtube.com/TMRO/join, and that will take you to the place where you can become a member and see us carry on being live in a few minutes' time.
I know that a lot of people are looking at what happened to your camera there, Ryan, and saying that it's just gotten smaller, but actually it's gone to actual size of Ryan there. Ryan was in-smallinated with that. It's very, very good. So just want to remind everybody, play it safe. Maybe Loopy, since you're out at the Cape, if you kind of want to say something for all the people who are going to be there tomorrow.
If you're driving, drive safe, get early, stay late, just make a day out of it. Wear a mask, stay social distance, all that stuff. We're still in the pandemic. Just be careful, be kind, be the people you want to see other people be in the world. We're all here to have a great time with SLS, and let's make sure everybody we do, and make sure everybody else around us does.
Watch for distracted pedestrians.
Yep, watch for pedestrians. Don't park on the far side of the bridge if you want to get home anytime soon, and just enjoy your day. Whether it goes or not, you'll probably have a good day. Hopefully.
Yep.
Just stay safe out there, y'all.
Yep. Just be excellent to each other. So. Kind of a way to do it. So everybody, thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. We're going to members only, so you should become a member so you can still stick with us.
I've gone small again. I've gone small again.
Oh, you did go small again.
I'm just going to press the end button because I keep going small.
Oh no.
Bye everyone.
Oh no.